Hello everybody, and welcome back to some Dungeons 3. And last time we streamed this, we did a bit of survival, which you only have about 20 waves, as heroes randomly spawn within your dungeon. And it doesn't really work to show off the traps you can really set up in kind of like your tower defense games. So this time, going to go through some endless mode, and we're going to go with puny deal this time as we went for average ton last time. And it's kind of the similar setup. You have one entrance that you enter the map from, but there'll also be a hero portal in your dungeon which is in a fixed position where heroes will spawn from and basically try and kill you, just like any other hero from the overworld would try and do. So we're going to have the same setup as last time, just with a different seed, as well as endless. So let's start it up. I've also changed my dungeon heart aesthetic, and it should now be undead instead of demon. So you have a bit of a different look there. See, it's all green and undead looking. So here's the hero portal. It will spawn heroes every so often, and here's the dungeon entrance, which you've seen from the last game I had. And it's the same kind of setup as last time. Just try and find a gold vein, as well as setting up some spaces for our troops to be sleeping in and not. As they do that, we'll just get more snots to hasten this, because we do have some time before the first wave comes. Nice, we've got our first gold vein here, so we can start them continuing making us money. You got ourselves some toolboxes as well. If I pick them up properly, there we go. And annoyingly, we have another gold vein in somebody's home. So I'm just going to expand a bit more and kind of just leave this as a room for this to just be mined out.
Spiders have spread throughout the underground.
We've got a damage bonus. We're going to want to hire some people. Need to pick up some of this gold so I can actually have gold to buy things with.
At the enemy.
Get them a bit closer so they actually attack the thing. And try and make sure none of them die so they get the most amount of experience. Charlie can have the damage bonus for now. And because she has an area of effect attack.
Hasta la vista, baby.
What's this one? This is a production, so give that to one of the imps, because they'll be working on traps later on. Set up as another treasury.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
There's the first hero from the hero portal. And just like the last game, they increasingly get harder.
Command me.
It's payday.
Ah, lovely, another gold vein. I can route the heroes around it so they don't have to interrupt my snots. When these guys are healed up, I shall take them up to top. So you take a Island of Evilness. Don't work on that, it's too far away at the moment. If you do that, I can block this off from the enemy. I'll try and route these guys around my base.
A spider nest has been unearthed.
All that is good. Ouch! For the absolute evil!
Take care of these spiders that I've unearthed.
Ooh, ah.
There we go.
Evil
Marks they
will
can destroy
triumph.
the actual hive itself. They've almost routed that, about halfway.
Payday.
Ooh, another tome. Give this to one of the imps because they have better damage. Once they fully healed up, I can go back up top. Speaking of which, let's get some Naga. I'll be able to get the one because of the evilness needed. That'll speed up health recovery. So let's keep them alive up top.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
And might need it because there's people coming into the
Aye.
dungeon.
Ouch! Where are you taking me? Command me.
Now I can block this off so they don't come this way. I'll pick up that potion so I just drop it on them. There we go. Let's just take him up top. Oh nice, found a diamond, but it's in the way of my little trap setup I've got going on right now.
I knew you'd need me.
It's a bit of a pain, but there should be some more diamond setups, or I could just route them to somewhere else.
Evil is unstoppable!
That might be a harder way to go. Let's go for this one down here. It's in a sort of dead end, so they should be able to take it back too easily. There's a weird double music playing. I was going to save and then load, just so it kind of fix this. It's still playing double music. We actually restart the game, see if that'll fix it. So just give me a minute or so, just so I can load the game back up again.
Welcome back, prisoner teasing evil. I don't have double music right now, but don't know how long it's going to last. See if we can get them outside of their base. Just about.
Take that!
Actually, I'm going to leave that standing just so they can keep spawning enemies. Gets a bit too easy when there's nothing spawning.
Ow!
It's payday.
Time to take out the trash. Destroy them all.
Gonna leave those two there. I'm not gonna be able to take that with just these guys. So let's go back to the underground. Start our production of demons. Might out of these
Your
things we
little
can
snobs
see.
have uncovered a dragon's nest.
Drop me on the enemy. And stay down.
That was easy enough.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
The good. Enemy.
This would be where the prison is. This could be where the graveyard is. So much gold. You can have that.
It's payday.
Ah, just noticed there's mushrooms there.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Not a large amount of enemies, but I can deal with them.
It's payday.
Ooh, ah.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Oh boy.
Where are you taking me? Ooh, ah.
Good morning, Intro. How are you today? Awake at 3 AM? You're up early. It's 11 AM for me. You're working at 3 AM, are you? What are you working on?
It's payday. Your dungeon is dark, but is it the darkest dungeon?
All the references. You're in an awake overnight shift at one of your homes where you support people with development disabilities. Alright. Are they awake or are they asleep? You're just making sure they don't wake up and do stuff.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
For the absolute evil!
They are asleep but may wake up. They require 24-hour access to support. Fair enough.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Are you just, like, sitting around? Or are you actively doing something? Because you said you're working in exclamation points. Oh, in quotation marks, I mean. Overnight shift typically cleans the house, but there's not much to do, so I'm trying to stay awake. Fair enough. Be good to just bring a laptop or something over so you have something to do whilst you're being awake. When you say working, you mean you're clocked in and getting paid what you stream, though. It seems good, but the downside is staying awake. Do you have any other, like, are you put in, you say overnight shift, do you actually have shift work where you get changed around every week? Or is it you're set for this every week?
Your creatures have discovered a number of worms in your dungeon. That is so disgusting. It's payday.
Evil is unstoppable!
Your position is a relief. So you put in any homes at any shift. Alright. So it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Well, for you it'd be moonlight and fog. Get paid a pretty big differential to be so flexible. Oh, that's nice. Has some benefits then.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Yeah, 16 an hour for sometimes just having to sit around is pretty good.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Dungeons 3 is basically a real-time strategy and base simulator. You start off with a little base underground, and you gotta dig out the underground and place down buildings. And your main aim is to conquer the overworld, as well as some other missions like killing a specific enemy or doing a certain task during the campaign. It's all about Talia, who is a dark elf who was kind of forced into being in the good side by her adoptive father, and we basically corrupt her to becoming evil. And the whole campaign is about her sticking with her evil side and conquering this continent that she lives on. You have the underground, which is all your base building, and then the overground, which is like an RTS. So if I just throw some people outside, I can show you how it becomes an RTS. When they go into the overworld, you kind of select them just like you do with real-time strategy units, and then just tell them to go to places. It will have different attacks that they'll do automatically, or you can command them to do. And you'll basically want to assault places of goodness. So you will have hero encampments or islands of good. This one's a church. They can be trees or rainbows. And when you take those over, they become islands of evilness, which generate evilness every few seconds, which is one of your currencies. You'll need both evilness and gold so that you can upgrade stuff in your tech tree. So you can have more little snots, which are basically your workers, more units in your army. You can unlock new stuff like having demons, succubi, as well as getting undead and torturing heroes to becoming your allies instead of being good. There's also traps and upgrades for units, as well as Titan units, which are like the end stage of each of the three factions, because you have demons on the right, in the middle you have undead, and on the left you have horde. Horde is basically just like goblins, orcs, naga and such. And right now I am playing the endless mode, which is basically you play for as long as you want, it never ends until you die. But the longer you play, the harder it gets. And every so often, heroes will come through this dungeon entrance to try and basically kill you. And in endless mode, there's also a heroes portal, which every so minutes will summon heroes to come and attack your base. And the longer it goes on, the more units are summoned, as well as their rank increasing. If I have any in the here, okay, so in here I've got some captured heroes, which are basically just kept here to starve to death. And once they die in there, they become undead, so skeletal archers or zombies. And you'll see, oh, this warden doesn't have much health. If I can zoom in here, you can see there's like bars that represent their health. This warden is like the first stage of a ranged unit, whereas a ranger is a lot higher. As you can see, there's a lot more squares in it, so that's a harder unit, and they'll keep getting harder and harder as time goes on. In this prison, they become just undead skeleton zombies. In here, we have the torture chamber, where basically we torture heroes to force them to become our allies. That is mostly it. Are any toolboxes? There's tons of toolboxes. Oh, there's moving them over. Yeah, it's definitely an addictive game. I spent plenty of times finding myself playing until the early AM. If you want to read my full thoughts on it, you can do !review, and you can read my review on the site about it. You can just keep watching. I've also done a playthrough of a multiplayer match. If you want to see that, that's on my YouTube channel. It's also on my highlights on Twitch, if you want to watch that later.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
You can see heroes just spawned in from the heroes portal. It looks like they're wanting to steal my gold from their fort bubbles. Alright, intro. Just waiting for these guys to get a bit closer so I can just hit my rolling stone on them.
There are enemies in your dungeon. Payday.
I want to level up this unit, so I'm just going to use her on her own. Give her a shield. And she gets all the XP from those kills. And they can go back over there. Level XP. I need her to get to level 5, which she is now, because I can use Undead to summon basically the evil overlord of the second game. He was also in the first, but in the first game you're playing as the heroes. In the second and third you play as the evil side. That means I'm going to need to get the temple. I need some more evilness. You can also just smack any of your workers to make them go faster. with your evil hand. And for this room, I'm turning turning some of my toolboxes into magic toolboxes, and they're basically used for making better machines that don't break, better traps that do more damage, and different effects and such. And I get this temple so that I can actually summon the Dark Lord. As well as expand the Gobbler farm, get some more food production. Oh, nice. Found a diamond vein.
Your creatures are demanding sanitary facilities. Huh. Philistines.
Now I have a evil portal to hell.
Payday.
like you're saying, special resource protecting those mines.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Yes and no. So here, there's just gold in the wall, but you want to excavate the place out because you'll find also mana, which you need to summon demons, which is stored in the Arcanum. And you can also find diamond veins, which hold unlimited gold, as well as gold veins that only have 15,000 at the start, and then you mine it out until it vanishes. There is also secret surprises in places you haven't unearthed. You could find there's a tome which you can equip to your minions that give them special bonuses like more health, more damage. You can find rooms that are full of spiders that you need to kill, or there's also demons and worms. They're not demons, dragons. You can also find trapped heroes, though I think that is only kept to the campaign itself. Come on, heroes. Come on. You're almost there. Keep going.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Everything evil comes from above.
You don't want to dig up the entire underground because rooms that have a production or a healing effect, it gets reduced from the amount of space that isn't taken up by that room. So right now, this room has a hole in it where a door is meant to be, so its efficiency is only 90%. If you have rooms that are right next to each other without a wall, their efficiency will also go down. So you want to have it separated out into actual rooms to make sure they heal and craft their produce as quickly as possible. Generally, you want to dig it all up and then just create rooms as well as a path for the heroes to go down so your traps do the most effect. Also, this spell, Magic Room, adds 100% to the efficiency of any room for 60 to for 1 minute to 2 minutes. So I just cast it in any place that's currently producing stuff, just so it makes them faster. Yeah, you can clear cut the entire underground and then build walls yourself. You do it with this, just fill an empty tile and it makes a wall for you. Want to get to this point, I know we just destroy the underground. Because I might find a special room and it just saves time later when I want to make rooms. I'm playing it on PC. This game's on Steam. Be a bit weird if I had this cursor on console, because it's very smooth, unlike an actual controller, and I could do multiple speeds.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
And as you can see, the heroes are getting stronger and stronger.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
He's saying beautiful to the traps. Or to the mouse movement. I asked 2 questions, but okay. Okay, traps. It gets better when you can actually do all the magic toolbox traps. Need more chickens. Improve this room. Oh yeah, I didn't finish increasing the room. That'll be why. Fair enough, intro.
Uh-oh, a spider nest has been unearthed.
And here's one of the surprise rooms. This one's just a bunch of spiders. When I pull my people down and throw them on the ground, I cast Mana Shield on them, which basically gives them a shield, which is some more health, so that they don't die, because the units can be very weak, especially these lower level ones. It just costs some mana, and I have enough demons that I get enough mana back. Demon Strength increases the damage they deal by 25%. Meteor Shower deals between 200 and 1000 damage, as well as stunning heroes, and Frost Bomb basically freezes them and doesn't allow them to do anything. It's a good setup if you want to train up some new units. I want to train up my Wraiths because I need them to be above level 5 so that I can try and summon the Absolute Evil. And I'm pretty sure you can do it here, because it hasn't changed the notes on the room itself. But I didn't do it in the campaign, which you can do in the campaign. This vein's finished, so I'm going to need to move the gold over somewhere else. I'm going to actually need to improve this so that I can store more gold. I'm basically selling the treasury just so I can move it somewhere else, because otherwise they're going to keep having to run all the way across the map to get to a treasury that's over here. And this one has ended as well, so I'll sell this one.
And now I'm lining the floors with tar to slow down the heroes.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Oh, now we got an Archmage. You can see around his health, it has like a kind of like a gold border. Pretty sure that means he's the last tier. And the Archmage does a lot of damage because he does area attacks.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
They're fine.
It's payday. One of your little snots keeps sending you funny cat videos. You'd punish it, but you find the thing so sweet.
Stop sending me cat videos. I want to get the Archmage and not the Apprentice. I can also sacrifice things to the evilness.
The sacrifice didn't coax a single god out of the clouds. The sacrifice didn't coax a single god out of the clouds. The gods weren't particularly impressed by the sacrifice.
Oh, I've got Grand Half. Grand Half. So the Archmage just comes out at level 9 instead of level 1 or anything. It doesn't show me his abilities. I could throw him outside and I could see what his actual electric bolt does. Attack can be made every 2 seconds. Nice. 200 damage to 5 targets. It's pretty good. Nah, it's totally not a reference. This game does reference Lord of the Rings, Vampire the Masquerade. It references some Marvel stuff sometimes. It referenced Darkest Dungeon, which is another game on Steam that came out recently.
as well as doing references to just general RPGs. It keeps making a mention that the heroes are just taking quests, and he hates the quest setup. Do I read much? You mean as in books? Not much, no. Why is there actually something that's called Grand Half in something else? If I like to read, you're going to make a couple of suggestions. I'm still reading the Night Angel trilogy. I just have not gone back to it. I've been too busy to read. Can you just kind of like go pray?
It's payday.
Or not? Fine, just leave me. I really like the books too. I'm currently on Shadow's Edge. I think I'm halfway through Shadow's Edge.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Last thing I remember happening, the prince is in prison, and he's just asserted his dominance over the other people, and Kyla has kind of shacked up with this older woman who's giving him and the girl a place to sleep for a few days, and he's currently tormented by spending his life with the girl or continuing to be a thief slash assassin at this point. Where's my other Wraith? I had 3. I only have 2 now. I might have sacrificed it.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Oh boy, you're about to trigger my rant card. Because I can't remember people's names? All I remember is Kylar's. It's been too long since I've read it. Or a rant about the character's decisions.
You can rant if you want. You called him an assassin. Okay. What is he then? A hitman? Well, at this point, he's mostly just a person who kills a lot of people because he infiltrated the castle and was just killing people left and right. Obviously, he was using the orb. I forgot the name of the orb. It's been so long since I've read it. Assassins have targets because they miss. Wet boys have deaders. Okay, so he is an assassin because he did fail at killing some people before. Wait, he didn't. He chose not to kill someone. Bakakare. I was thinking kukri in my head, but I know kukri, isn't it? Because kukri is a sword or a dagger thing. Oh, I want you. I don't want you to be there. Go on.
The sacrifice didn't coax a single god out of the clouds.
And he gave me skeleton archers. Durzo makes a huge deal out of the Assassin Says Wet Boy difference. Like I said, it's probably been a few years, maybe. I don't even remember the last time I read the first one. I read the first one when I was in university.
It's payday. The sacrifice didn't coax a single god out of the clouds.
I'll get rid of those because I want to replace them with a lich and a vampire. Oh, Gul'dan's definitely a reference. I can't remember what it's from. I think it's just from World of Warcraft. Wait, are you even running it? You don't have legs, do you? I can't rotate the camera. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's not... Actually, he might have legs underneath that. And that is such a stereotypical vampire. Yeah, he's not running. He doesn't have legs. At least his legs are invisible. Oh, let's just got skeleton legs. Most people don't devour and retain books like you do, to be fair. I was never really too big into reading books. I was mainly forced into it from school. But I saw the cover to The Way of Shadows and I thought, yeah, that looks good. And I have trouble sleeping. I'll get this to try and read and go to sleep. And then it made me not sleep even more because I just kept reading.
Brent Weeks will do that to you.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've kind of stopped reading for a while now.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
Ooh, Swordmaster, I want to have him.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
How difficult is it to set up a stream? Difficult if you don't know what you're doing.
I streamed a few times before getting my setup I have now, and I could never figure out why my streams were blurry. You just gotta look up the best way to do streams, because you gotta change the default bitrate. You've got to change the settings. But besides that, it's pretty easy. Once you've got it set up, you just click go. No, I don't want a normal warrior. So you got the Swordmaster, that's good. Get a Priestess instead.
Payday.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, intro. It's only really a few things you need to know. Everything else you learn as you go along. What are you thinking about streaming whilst you're staying awake? This is just the arena, so
creatures can come here to grind up XP. It's free for horde units, I'm pretty sure. Everything else costs money. Sacrifice some snots.
The gods weren't particularly impressed by the sacrifice.
How dare you! Gave me some mana though. Barely any. You would not be able to do it at work, because sometimes you work all year out. But sometimes you work all of your hours for the week in 3 days. How do you do that? Is that just overtime? Well, no, it wouldn't be overtime if you're doing all your hours. Do you just do like 18-hour shifts or something? "16-hour shifts." That was close. Why are you hungry? There's enough food. It's just you want beer. All this lovely mana.
Enemies have entered the dungeon. Payday.
Oh, a little XP and some level ups too.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
want to sleep, go sleep. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't need all these horde units, so I can sell some of them. Oh no, I want sacrifice. There we go.
The gods weren't particularly impressed by the sacrifice. The gods weren't particularly impressed by the sacrifice. The gods weren't particularly impressed by the sacrifice. The gods found the sacrifice okay. The sacrifice didn't coax a single god out of the clouds. The gods found the sacrifice okay.
The heroes never try to break the walls. Nope, I don't think they can. They'd never tried to in the whole campaign I played. It'd make for an interesting campaign setting if they could.
The gods found the sacrifice okay. The gods weren't particularly impressed by the sacrifice. The gods were pleased with the sacrifice. The gods found the sacrifice okay.
Quickly break them down with your workers. It seems like a good way to get things done. They don't bring pickaxes. They're heroes. Heroes only use swords and magic. But then they have magic. Why don't they use the magic to blast the doors down? I don't know why they don't. Seems like a good way to win if they just want to bypass all my traps. Not your Pathfinder characters. Adamantine pick is always useful. I've never really had any campaign where mining was ever a thing that happened. It was always something the NPCs did. Mining just seems very NPC.
It's payday. There are enemies in your dungeon.
Oh, heroes are going to attack my Island of Goodness. Oh yeah, I never took that last place. I should probably go do that.
One of your islands of evilness is under attack.
No, not the boulder! Ah, it's broken. Well, hopefully you have enough crushers to deal with them.
One of your islands of evilness was captured.
I would think it would take a while to get through a wall with a pickaxe, though. Somebody would hear you doing it. Unless your strength is just exuberantly high.
A couple of worms are worming through your dungeon. Crush the worms.
Oh, that was easy. Crushers did most of the work. Oh, there's still some priestesses, but... looks like they die in one or two of these crushers. Ah! They got through! There's a high priestess! I found a worm? Yeah, worm's here.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
High strength and an adamantine pick. Oh yeah, true. I'm just thinking about the hardness and actual HP of a wall, and it's not that high.
The sacrifice didn't coax a single god out of the clouds.
see if the undead can deal with that place for me. Got some level 9s in there, should be fine. I can also just give them shields so they take no damage. They've actually not spawned anything else there.
It's payday.
Oh, there's a place here. Have you been watching any of my Pathfinder games recently, Andrew? You haven't had a chance, that's fine.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
We recently started a new campaign that's set in an MMO world.
A Secret Service spy approached the sinister evil, wanting to have the usage data on all its monsters. There wasn't much left of him once the orcs were done. There are enemies in your
One of them just
dungeon.
set off my mana bomb trap there, and they all went off at the same time. You have a weekly Pathfinder group on Wednesday. You haven't been able to play in a couple of months due to scheduling conflicts. Is that to do with your shifts that you've been asked to take? Not usually, mostly other people. Yeah, I really find that sometimes. Every third week, one of my players can't play because he has scheduled work on that day. Hello, Sniper! How are you today?
Payday.
You're right to get different players to play with. Yeah, it's good to get some different groups. I've definitely had some really good ones, and the group I currently have is kind of a mismatch of the good players I've had so far. Just trying to get the perfect group together still. And you're good. You just finished Disc 1 of FF8. That is that when you go to the prison? I think that's when you go to the prison. I'm just going to say the prison because I don't know. I don't want to spoil anything in case you haven't played it. I'm good myself. Can't complain. Bit of a cold day, but it's how it normally is in Britain. Yeah, they're gonna flash back then to the prison. Alright. Well, you're about to enter one of the harder parts of the game. Oh, you can read it many times, that's fair enough then. Because there are two specifically hard parts. One is when you attack the Galbadia place and you have the timer before the place explodes and you have the boss. I didn't equip the people that were there, so that fight wasn't possible for me for the first time I played it, and that stopped me from playing. And then the second harder place was the prison, because you can only really have Zell doing anything. big fire dude, will he also recover when he dies, similar to the other demons? I'm pretty sure he does. I can test it for you. I can afford him. When I get 1,000 gold, I'll test it for you. Do I have enough space in my demon room? No, I do not. Hebrews the card system a lot, so I'm quite overpowered. I sucked at the card game, and I didn't know about the conversion method when I was younger, so the card game did not assist me at all when I first played it. Whenever I go back to it, it's a lot easier because I understand how junctioning works and how you can change cards into magic and stuff. I mean, it kind of changes difficulty the same way FF7 does. If you understand the materia system and how to abuse it, the game becomes a lot easier. Alright, so... here we go, we got Orcus. You can just stand guard here. So when you die, we can test for Cezanne if you revive yourself. But you're going to need a place to be respawned in. Do you need a 5x5? I can't remember. We'll do some stuff down here, see if that'll work.
Enemies have
Oh no,
entered the
you've done it.
dungeon.
Enter the dungeon. Where's Orcus? There he is. We'll wait until his bed gets made, because he won't respawn unless he doesn't have a bed, Cezanne. I know for a fact the undead one comes back, because I've had him come back before. The last boss of this one was throwing level 3 spells at you. Have you been grinding, or keeping your level low? Alright, oh, here you are. Orcus. Go deal with these guys. If you die in the process,
Enemies
oh well.
have entered the dungeon.
Alright, so we've got his pit. He's definitely going to die because he's on his own.
Payday.
And he is dead. Yes, he is being revived, just like the other guys. The only one who doesn't revive is the Ogre. I'm pretty sure if you have a Defibril mat, you can also revive the Ogre. Because Orcus is getting revived right now. It's alright, Cezanne. Literally takes no effort on my side to do it. And I was going to get him eventually. Your lowest level, about 20 to 25. That sounds high to me. Then again, I think the last time I watched anything to do with FF8, it was a level 1 run. Then my thoughts might be a bit skewed with that level 1 run. Everybody's walking all the way over there to get their money. I like how I could just magic crates out of thin air. I can create life. You've been level 50-ish at that point, so low level for you. Fair enough. When I first played it, I thought grinding was a good thing, like any other RPG. So I was like level 90 or something when I went to space. And, well, I was stuck. Because I could not fix myself at that point. Things just kill you too easily. Did too, to be honest, those damn aliens. Yeah, it sounds like whenever I talk about it in devs chat, a lot of people did something similar where they grinded too much and people hated the space part. That part stopped me from completing the game because I thought the game was... I don't think the game was stupid at the point. I think it was... I just thought the game was too hard or I wasn't understanding something, so I just never played it again. And if I did, I'd even get to that part. I still have not completed FF8. I've only seen endings in video format. And of course, being young, it definitely scared me as a child. I review play Breath of Fire. I think I played Breath of Fire 7 or 6. Just notice you have no mana buffs. Seaman stuck at level 3, unsure if this is by design. It's not really by design, I've just not bothered to do it because I don't really need them to be any higher. They're just there to produce mana for me. They're also not leveling up anyway, because they can go up to 4. Where is it? Rise above level 4. Oh no, yeah. When I unlock this, they can go above. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I mean, sure. I had made this room to become mana baths, but at that point, I wasn't really reuse them.
It's payday.
I'm also watching Def play Breath of Fire 3. I know watching and playing is not the same thing. Breath of Fire 1 through 4 and Dragon Quarter are the only ones you know of. I'm pretty sure I played 6 or 7. If not, that might have been a fan game, because it was on Steam.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
You're the one who sent Breath of Fire 3 to him, were you? Thank you! I really like watching it. I keep asking him to play it, and I always vote for it whenever he has Fan Request Friday. Yeah, I'm on heroes. Oh, they're almost all maxed rank. Looks like only one of them isn't. I think of Breath of Death 7 from Makes Cthulhu Save the World.
Have entered the dungeon.
Most likely am, because I did play Cthulhu Saves the World all the way through. And I think that might have been packaged with it. I like how it also takes my people with it. I didn't know I was going to do that. In that case, I want to have a door here so it doesn't come all the way to my dungeon heart. So yeah, I played Breath of Death 7. That'll probably be it. Probably not Breath of Fire, because it did seem kind of comedic and not the same style as Breath of Fire 3. I only played it for about a few hours though. I didn't really get that into it. I think Call of Cthulhu Saves the World was all I needed for that kind of game at that time. And Entro's going to be right back. He's going to go see if Capcom snuck some games out on you. Fair enough. I would suggest Dragon's Dogma. That's my 5th favourite game? I'd have to check my list again what my favourite games are. So that's on it. Dragon's Dogma is 5th. There's my favourite games list. Joint first is Final Fantasy 7 and Jade-Cocoon, whereas Persona 3 is at number 3, Tales of Vesperia is 4, and then Dragon's Dogma is 5th. This game any good? Yes, it is very good, Robson. I've spent many days finding myself playing this to the early hours of the morning. If you want to read my review on it, you can do !review, and I'll give you the link to my review on the website. And yeah, Sniper, I know you're another person who knows of Jade-Cocoon. Their highly underappreciated first Studio Ghibli game. Sweet, you're going to purchase it on Friday. It's pretty cool, Robson. Hope you have a good time with it. And my suggestion for it doesn't pan out to be false, and you hate it. I hate Jade-Cocoon 2, and I don't see it as a sequel. That's my thoughts, Sniper.
The malignant evil confidently viewed the state of the world. Evil was growing everywhere. Excellent.
What's that face for, Sniper? You agreeing with me, or you just finding my response funny? All reviews for it's been positive. You'll trust me? Alright then. If you want to see the multiplayer in action, I did do a highlight of my previous stream where I did a multiplayer match. That's on my highlights or on my YouTube if you want to go there instead.
Heyday.
I know YouTube can load a bit faster for some people. Found a response funny, I can't remember it being very good. Fair enough, Sniper. I've always had a very critical view of the second Jade-Cocoon. It kind of just ruined everything that the first one was good for me. Like the fact you just have this little circle area to run around in for your kind of village. And how you had just
several monsters in a circle around you. I just didn't really like it. It kind of, in a weird way, it gamified the first game. Even though it was a game, it didn't really have the same feel as the first one did. There's only Breath of Fire 1 to 4 in Dragon Quarter. Alright. Sorry, I misled you. I thought it was Breath of Fire, but it was just Breath of Death. It was just a homage to it then. And Sniper, you wish your food was there, your stomach thinks your throat's been cut out. I've had that before. Where your stomach's empty, but there's like a pain near your Adam's apple. Thank you for the host, Sniper. It sounds like my alerts are very low. Have I turned it down? No, OBS is as loud as possible.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
You're probably seeing a very still screen right now. So I'm just changing the volume. Let's try that again.
Go on! I know you can do it, buddy!
There we go, that's a better volume. Yeah, it didn't save. For some reason it was at like 4% volume on Streamlabs itself. Oh no, they're going to attack my island of goodness. Whatever shall I do? Enter your good as Breath of Fire 3 as death is at FF7.
An island of evilness is being attacked.
So very good. He does a lot of planning, so it's hard to tell if you think he's good or he takes too long in planning stuff. Sniper's dog has caught his own tail and is running around in circles. Sounds like most
one
dogs.
of your islands of evilness to the enemy.
A single ice crusher can kill all these units at once. Wow. You guys need to get like better health. While you do that, I'm gonna send out my undead to take back this place. Your dog is a bit special. Most dogs are special, unless you train them.
He's very good. He knows that game ridiculously well. I don't know. He pronounces regen as regen. Or Reagan. Ronald Reagan. His pre-show's on. He starts in like 23 minutes.
It's payday.
Reagan. I mean, to be honest, I always pronounce Shiva wrong. I always pronounced it Shiva. It's meant to be Shiva. I always pronounce Bahamut properly. Improperly. Wrong. As I always said, Bahamut. It's meant to be Bahamut. Even though the game never has voices, so it's always hard to tell. And their voice actors always say different things anyway. You're gonna go start pronouncing it Reagan to annoy. Yeah? I mean, the people you're gonna annoy with saying Reagan are the same people who are gonna get annoyed at anything else you're gonna do. It's all well and good saying you're pronouncing something wrong, than saying you're an evil person for doing this, go kill yourself.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
I want to see how far these heroes actually get, because these are just normal ones from the surface, so they don't get any better. They're already dead. They don't even make it past the third one. Since that's the case, I'm just gonna sell these. Kind of wall this area off. You once heard or read somewhere that you should never make fun of someone for pronouncing something incorrectly. It means that they have only ever read it. We shouldn't make fun of people for pronouncing things wrong anyway, because we all have regional dialects and accents. Some people can't pronounce things properly because of where they come from, unless they take years of, like, what is it? It's not speech therapy, because that's for actual disabilities. There's classes you can go to help you pronounce as well as speak accents. I can't remember what it is. I don't think it's accent classes. Well, you're Yorkshire sniper. You say everything wrong. Because you say it with a Yorkshire accent. See? You agree with me. I mean, whenever I've come to your streams, you've said things fine. I don't remember any times where I thought this guy said this thing wrong. I must make a comment about it. You pronounce Yorkshire, Yorkshire. That's fine. You come from there. You can pronounce it however you like. If anything, I'm pronouncing it wrong.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
See, are they all gold? There's a ranger in there. And a veteran. And a bombardier. So there's 3 enemies in there that aren't max rank yet. Your opinion is people pronounce things how they want. I just go on with your life. Yep, that's pretty much the way I am. I mean, I'll try and tell people how to pronounce something properly. But it's up to them if they want to take the advice. I hardly ever say it anyway. I'm more about the grammar. Though I hold myself back on Twitch because I know people are just writing quickly. You've only ever heard Hors d'Ivoire. I can never pronounce that word. I got it once and I just forgotten. I'll just say Hors d'Ivoire because I'm reading it phonetically. Or however it's spelled. So I tried to say it out loud one time at my Pathfinder group. How did that go? Yes! What did you say, Hors d'Ivoire, as well? I don't want to say I'm a grammar Nazi. I'm a grammar aficionado.
There are enemies in your dungeon.
Very weak enemies. Oh, they've got a priestess and a bombardier. They're getting stronger slightly. It's hors d'oeuvres, little snack foods. Oh, I thought you meant the word is hors d'oeuvres. I know it's a snack food thing. I never know how to pronounce it. How to say hors d'Ivoire because that's what I read it as. And it rhymes, so I think it's better. There's some flaming trap here as well. Actually, I can expand this room. I take it your players went to a fancy restaurant or ball. You never put together that hors d'oeuvres and hors d'oeuvres are the same. Wait, so hors d'oeuvres is actually hors d'oeuvres? But I can read hors d'oeuvres as hors d'oeuvres, but the hors d'oeuvres just looks like hors d'oeuvres. Isn't it a French word? So if it's a French word, we should have a translation that isn't like that. Because merci is thank you. We have thank you. Make a separate word in English that is hors d'oeuvres, but written differently. Appetizers. There we go. Whenever I read hors d'oeuvres, I'm going to read it as appetizers. Or I'll just write it phonetically. why I normally prefer like chat programs to have phonetic options. Because people never say Napaz tricks properly. They always say Napaz. I think the only person to ever say it right was GMA, but I'm pretty sure he heard me when I corrected Death. Oh, it doesn't let me put traps in the actual spawn area. So how come it's not let me summon the Dark Ward? Or is it just campaign specific? So it says on this, their worship makes it possible to summon the absolute evil, at least for a short time, but I've not got the ability to do so. To allow the undead to rise from 5th level, you would have Research Temple, where from 6th level on, they regularly satisfy their need to pray. If the temple is at least a 5x5 tile, it is a sacrificial pit, and you can throw things in there. More valuable you sacrifice, more valuable the rewards might be. Who's to be moody? So in the Almanac, it doesn't say you can do it, but in the build option, it says their worship makes it possible to summon the absolute evil. You can do that in the campaign, but it doesn't look like it's allowing you to do it outside the campaign. Because I have a level 10 Banshee who should be, like, worshipping. She's at Prey 24.
Payday.
You at Prey 72. Only one person ever said your name right out loud. When I say intro, Entropic Chaos? I would say Entropic Chaos or Entropic Chaos because it's a 0, not an O. So it's Entropic Chaos. So now you've heard 2 people say it right. It'd probably be easier to read if the second C was the capital. That way you separate out the 2 parts of the word. So you'd have a hard C. Right now it looks like you would say Entropic Chaos instead of Entropic Chaos. Because the C is lowercase, it's not a hard C. So when you write it out phonetically, you'd have the C as a larger C. Either or. So Entropic Chaos or Entropic. And that's why I normally have the T in my name as a capital. Because the T is a hard T, not just something you go with, because it's not Napaz tricks, Napaz tricks. Oh god, my grammar Nazi's coming out. I'm telling you how to pronounce things. Do it how you want. Got a veteran bombardier.
One of your little snots worships dark gods. Good creature, that creature.
Looks like there's only 2 of 2nd tier in there. Well, Endless is definitely a lot easier than Survival, because this Endless match has gone on for about the same time as
There are
Survival,
enemies in your dungeon.
but they're not getting past the second tier of my Frost Crushers. Survival is just a lot more harder because it has the actual portals appear anywhere in your dungeon, so they can bypass your traps. But if you have a trap set up like this, for example, even though this is for like lower level things, they don't have the ability to pass it. It just shows that traps are really powerful. So if you've ever played a tower defense game, this becomes a lot easier because you know to like funnel everyone down a single corridor and then spend your resources to kill them all at once. I mean, I could make it even better by doing a maze kind of system where they have to go this way, and then down, then back, and then down, and then back, and have traps lining the walls all the way. But you don't really need it. Like, these traps are dealing with the outside well enough, and they don't even do that much. How much is Flaming Arrow Trap? It's 7 times 50, so 350. Then the Crusher is 25 times 200. So that's 45,000. Jesus, that's a lot of damage. I think the heroes only have like 3,000 health. The only reason it has a 0 is because someone apparently got to Entropic Chaos first. Yeah, I could see that being taken because Entropic Chaos kind of rolls off the tongue, really. And it's like, it's 2 words that go together properly. You've been using Entropic Chaos since you bought a PS3 when they first came out. I've been using Napaz Tricks since before college. I started it in secondary school, so 3, 4, 7. Yeah, I've been using Napaz Tricks for about 10 years, maybe more. Thankfully, I'm not famous. Somebody hasn't stolen it from me. It also doesn't mean anything because I just made it up. Might as well just unlock everything.
It's payday.
Looks like Sniper ran off to Death's stream. I thought he was just being a lurker. Oh no, you're dropping my tomes everywhere. Put those back. Ulysses says he's still here. He could be watching 2 streams at once. Increase the amount of things I can produce.
Enemies have entered the dungeon.
He said they enter the dungeon, they're all dead. They turn the corner and just dead. Alright, thanks for joining Entro. Gonna wind down the stream here anyway, and head over to Death as well. So I don't think they're going to be able to pass anything I have set up. Even with almost maxed out tiers of the heroes, they're still bringing in like 1 or 2 tier 2s, and they can't even get past one of these crushers, and I've set up about 6 at this point. And with that the amount of gold and evenness I have, I can just make a lot more. Unless they come in with 100 units, I don't see them getting past anything. So I think this might be the extent of their strength. So I'm going to end off the endless mode here. Pretty sure I showed everything that can be shown off. So I shall thank you all for watching. And I shall see you all next time.